Imagine a man so dangerous, so uncontrollable, that the US government had to build a prison just for him. A child so young that his voice hadn't yet deepened, but his hands were steady enough to pull the trigger on a police detective. And a wife, a loving wife, who turned into a cold-blooded butcher, hiding her crime for nearly 2 decades. These are not horror movie characters. These are real people. Tonight, we take you into the shadows, where evil wears faces you'd never expect. The monster. Thomas Silverstein. Thomas Silverstein. Inmates called him the most dangerous prisoner in America. Guards called him a ghost they feared would strike again. Born in 1952, Silverstein wasn't destined to be the country's most feared prisoner, but once behind bars, he became a nightmare. He murdered rival gang leaders. He strangled and stabbed fellow inmates. And in 1983, inside the high-security Marion Penitentiary, he killed correctional officer Merle Klutz right under the noses of other guards. The message was chilling. If Silverstein could kill inside the most secure prison in America, nowhere was safe. The government's response? They built a special cell, a place so isolated, Silverstein lived in near total silence for decades. He became America's first true supermax prisoner, alone, forgotten, feared, cliffhanger beat. But Silverstein wasn't the last to shock America. Evil was about to wear the face of a child. America's youngest cop killer, 14 years old. That's all he was. Barely a teenager, too young to drive, too young to vote, but old enough to pick up a gun and change history. In the late 1990s, Detective Eddie Byrne was on a routine surveillance operation. He never saw it coming. A teenager, armed with a gun, fired 29 bullets. 29. Cold, calculated, merciless. Byrne never stood a chance. The news shook America. How could a child carry out such brutality? Was he a victim of his environment, or simply evil in its purest, youngest form? Courts wrestled with the question, should a 14-year-old be tried as an adult? The country split. Some demanded mercy, others demanded justice. But one truth remained. A police detective was dead, and a boy had pulled the trigger. If a child can kill a cop, then who can we trust? But sometimes, the danger isn't in the streets. Sometimes, it's waiting in the comfort of your own home. The wife who butchered love, Jane Lim. Alaska, a place of snow, silence, and secrets. Jane Lim lived what looked like a normal marriage. Friends described her as devoted. Her husband, a quiet man. Together they seemed ordinary, but behind closed doors was something darker brewed. One night, Jane killed her husband. Not in rage, not in panic, but with chilling calculation. She dismembered his body. Piece by piece, she hid the remains. And then, she smiled. For nearly 2 decades, she lived free, carrying her secret like a shadow no one could see. But secrets rot, and eventually, Jane confessed. The truth spilled out, shocking neighbors, friends, and investigators alike. The woman they thought they knew was a killer. A husband murdered, a child who killed a cop, a prisoner who slaughtered even behind bars. What ties them together? One terrifying truth. Evil can hide anywhere. In a man, in a boy, in a wife. Evil wears unexpected faces. Thomas Silverstein, America's prison monster, a 14-year-old boy, the youngest cop killer, Jane Lim, the Alaskan wife who became a murderer. 3 stories, 3 faces of evil, none of them what we expected. So the question remains, what evil hides behind the next face you meet? This was the Unexpected Faces of Evil. Stay vigilant and stay alive. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share to receive more of the stories.